Dude, do we have to watch that fucking white nationalist girl? Dude, she is so annoying. Oh, wow, dude. This girl just, doesn't she look fucking rough? Dude, she does. She looks rough.
Xenophobic nationalism, don't you think that's better for Americans in general?
To be xenophobic nationalism is better?
We should have a coherent culture. Everyone should be a part of the same culture. We should have assimilation.
Which, do you get to choose what the culture is?
We already have a dominant culture.
What is
based
the dominant
on
culture?
European and Christian values and identity. That is the dominant culture.
White Christian,
it's rooted in European identity.
White. So your argument is that
has been the dominant culture.
Just to be clear,
and we're not letting people assimilate to that. We're saying you should keep your culture, and this is why our culture's so.
Dude, if you're black, how do you assimilate to being white? You know what I mean? Like, what the f does that even mean? Right? Like, white Christian? All right, if you're a black Muslim, how the f do you assimilate to a white Christian? Not to, like, say the obvious here, but if your culture is white Christian, it's not something that people can fucking assimilate to. Like, what the f is she talking about? Bro, excuse me, but you're gonna have to be white. You know, you're gonna have to be white there. I'm sorry, sir, you're not white enough. Dude.
So divided.
Your argument is that Trump is good for those who want a dominant white European culture.
I mean, that is what America is. It's rooted in European identity and Christian values. That's
well, but see, I take some issue with this, though, because if we look at the start of America, okay, if we go back to 1607, when they came to Jamestown, that was the first modern American settlement. The native people here far outnumbered the white Europeans, okay? Far outnumbered. And then eventually more white Europeans showed up. And then in 1619, some Africans showed up as slaves. And the initial problem with the American colonies was that there was tobacco and there was cotton. There were so many crops, but there weren't enough people to farm them. There weren't enough white Europeans to fucking collect the crops, which is why slavery happened. Slavery happened because those small number of white Europeans that were vastly outnumbered by the native people, they enslaved people to do all the work, and they took all the wealth that was generated, but they used black people to generate wealth, to build their little whatever international empire. So it wasn't really a white Christian culture. It was a culture of exploitation and abuse, of not having enough people to farm their own land, and therefore exploiting and abusing and enslaving and fucking terrorizing other people that were not white Europeans and making them do all of your work for you while you got wealthy and powerful. So, dude, it's like, it's this weird sort of, you know, not exactly truthful identity behind America. I mean, if you really look at it, our culture as America was more like exploitation and theft, really, is our culture. We are a culture of theft and exploitation and murder, really, genocide, the natives killing off their food supply.
What it has been. Would you really disagree with that? What is it then, if that's not the identity of America?
Well, I think the identity of America...
For the majority of time, America's been a country. You don't think that's been the identity?
Well, actually, no. I think actually the identity of America has been, you know, for better or for worse, a melting pot in that regard.
Yeah, maybe since like the 1960s. Even
since the 1960s, she said. It is absolutely a melting pot. America has always been a ginormous patchwork of people that are all from somewhere else. And unfortunately, we became this through exploitation and savagery and, you know, genociding the natives and stealing all their land and shit. But still, it's always been a patchwork. I mean, there's no doubt that the power in America has always resided in the white Christians, but that's not because it was the way it should be or we wanted it to. It was more about those people would often do things to maintain their power and their control, you know?
Then, like, even we had this idea of a melting pot literally means assimilation, too. It means melting. It means you're assimilating to the dominant.
The melting pot doesn't mean assimilation to the dominant culture A melting pot means conjoining. It's like you can't assimilate across gender or culture lines. It's sort of ridiculous, but the whole concept of a melting pot is that we all fuse together and become something brand new. It's not like if you put a bunch of clam chowder in with a bunch of tomato soup, the tomato soup doesn't turn into fucking clam chowder. No, you end up having red tomatoey chowder. I mean, dude, it ain't fucking rocket science. Like, think about this. Think about just like a company, something like Apple. Apple started by making a computer, but there was an evolution. If Apple had just assimilated to the original dominant culture, all they would have ever made was computers. But no, they evolved. They went from computer to then they went to music storage device, iPod, and then they fused the iPod and the computer, and it became a media storage device combined with the computer, combined with the phone. And it's this glorious fucking thing that we have that happened because they didn't assimilate to their original dominant culture. They allowed the evolution of the company to expand with the new exploration, and then voila, they end up somewhere that they totally never expected to be. And that's really what America is about, I think. It's about that adventure.
Culture, is that not what melting means?
No, it doesn't
and
mean
now
that
instead we're saying there's something wrong with xenophobia.
Culture. No. I mean, look, I got to be honest with you, like, you and I have a fundamental disagreement. We will never see eye to eye on this. It's a choice. And people, I think what you're expressing, though, is really what the Trump movement at its heart is about. And I think that's problematic.
I disagree. I don't think Trump's like anywhere close to being a Christian nationalist. That's ridiculous. Like, Trump's basically a Democrat from like 15 years ago when it comes to social issues.
So you don't think that he's concerned?
Dude, she's like, Trump isn't racist and Christian nationalist enough for me. she's like Nick Fuentes for president. Holy shit.
Oh, definitely. Nowhere close. No.
He's not xenophobic enough for you?
No, he's trying to import a bunch of H-1Bs. Are you kidding?
Right. Oh, so you want to get them out too? Yeah. No, I mean,
Dude, do you see her face, though, when she says that? She looks nervous, right? He's importing H-1Bs. Are you kidding? But she looks, like, nervous. Like, that's what I wonder when I see this, if she even means this shit. Or she's just trying to be the next, like, ghoulish Riley Gaines fucking wannabe.
I think you're making my argument for me.
If we take the leftist view to its logical tail end, to its extreme view, you have low reproductive birth rates, you have a reproductive dead end, so two men together can't reproduce.
But see, dude, this guy is so dumb, though. I see this argument. The religious people always go there. Two men can't reproduce. But they can. If two men want to reproduce, they just go to a woman and they impregnate a woman or a trans man with a uterus. Like, reproduction doesn't have to exist purely in the confines of the relationship. I mean, look at Elon Musk or any of these other motherfuckers who are reproducing all over the place outside of their relationship. But this narrow framework, like, oh, if all men dated men and all women dated women, society would cease to exist. And it's like, no, they wouldn't. They would literally just create, like, all the gay couples would impregnate the fucking lesbian couples and everybody would have a bunch of kids. Like, how fucking dumb is this guy? It's like so dumb. Like, homie, where are you living? If I'm married to a woman, I could still reproduce with 1,000 other women, bro. Reproduction has nothing to do with who you're in a relationship with. It's literally just sex. Dude, this guy, though, they always make this argument. It's fucking clownery.
Unless they have to take from a healthy straight couple, religion provides this foundation where you do prioritize the nuclear family.
So do you have a problem with gay people being married?
It's not that I have a problem. I just don't see a justification for why they ought to be gay outside of it just feels good. Can you give me another justification for it?
Well, I think maybe that's the way they were born.
Okay, what about pedophiles? Are they born that way?
They may be, yeah.
Okay, so should we let a pedophile off the hook since they were born that way?
He's going to the pedophile, but again, the pedophile's causing harm, bro. This guy wants to talk about the pedophile. Of course, he compared them because that's his thing, but it goes back to that human suffering thing. A pedophile or somebody molesting kids. There's a human being who's a kid who is having their rights violated, and they're being harmed. They're being wounded by that person who is grappling with their disorder. A gay couple having sex, nobody's getting harmed by that. Dude, but again, though, it's like this is the dominant thing, though, because to him, a gay person and a pedophile are the same, because he was raised with not a religious morality. He was raised with a religious confine with which to put people in, which means if you operate sexually outside the dynamics in this religion, you are now a degenerate. You're an evil person. If you have sex outside of the man and woman sex, you're like a pedophile, according to him, because his religion isn't morality. His religion is a rule book with which to judge and relegate everybody that's not in that religion to a fucking place of evilness. Dude, I wonder about a lot of Republicans, because when you think about it, just with them following Trump, there's a lot of instances where there's no way they can have a consistent viewpoint and have it make sense. Like they'll say like mass deportations. Yes, we're getting rid of all immigrants, but then he's like H-1Bs. And they're like, oh, okay, well, we're bringing in immigrants. Or $5 million gold card. Oh, we're bringing in a whole bunch of immigrants. It's just, they like ping pong from one thing to the next, with the only real consistent thread is that they believe that the things they're believing in are somehow making left-wingers upset or angry or triggered. That seems to be their underlying goal. But there's no consistency there. I mean, how can there be a consistency of like, they're really concerned about the national debt, but then they increase the debt to give tax breaks. But the tax breaks only go to the wealthy people. Like, okay, so you don't care about the debt. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You say you care about the working people, but then only the wealthy people get the benefits. Okay, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, the whole thing is wildly inconsistent. It is. It's wildly inconsistent. Like, they're pro-life. Protect the children. Protect the kids. Okay, let's provide them school lunch. No! Let the kids go hungry. Okay, well, what do you want to do? Do you want to protect the kids and take care of the kids? Or do you want to starve the kids and fucking make them go work in a meat packing plant? Like, what? You know, pick a fucking lane, people. It's like, goddamn, bro. What is up, guys? Thank you so much for watching. You like the video, you want to support independent resistance media, you know what to do. Drop that sub, hit the like button, and please share it. And we do love our members, so if you want to become a member, it's another really great way to support. Thanks again for everything, guys. I'll see you next time. Let's go.